Okay. So am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So good afternoon everyone. On behalf of JOSC, I warmly welcome you to the first session of Strokes of Insight 2025. I am Spandan Shah Roy, currently a third year undergrad at the Department of Construction Engineering, and along with me is Sania Gupta, who is a second year undergrad at the same department, and we are the host today. So today I am honored to have with us Mr. Aritra Sengupta, an alumnus from the 2015 batch of Civil Engineering at Jadavpur University. After working as a structural engineer at Floor Daniel, he pursued his postgraduate diploma in business analytics. Currently, he is contributing his expertise as a data analyst consultant at a renowned company, Mastercard. So we look forward to an insightful session today with Mr. Sengupta. So Dada, how are you feeling connecting back with the students of university as an alumni today?
Honestly speaking, it's been 10 years. I left, Jadavpur University as an undergrad student, as you are right now doing your, undergraduation. So it's been a decade, I would say. And I understand that a lot of things has changed since then. Curriculum has changed, the way we structure the program, everything has changed. But yeah, it's, again, refreshing old memories, old days. Obviously, a great sort of nostalgia, Jadavpur University, staff canteen and everything. But, more interesting to see that students from your time, your batch, these guys are, organizing these kind of sessions. They are trying to connect with, industry alumni, which is a great deal of, effort because in our time, uh, something like this was not happening. And I would say the most important thing is, awareness that what you are doing, what's your prospects ahead, and to connect with someone, it's been almost 10 years in the industry, and we have seen a lot of different ups and downs and everything. So it's a great initiative, I would say, and always, feeling back like home. So yeah, thank you for inviting me in this session.
Okay, thank you, Dada, for that. I think that you are feeling nostalgic for this, right? Okay. So
Yeah.
I would request you to say few words about yourself, about your journey and
Yeah, so about my journey, I joined Jadavpur University in Civil Engineering Department in 2011, and in 2015 I graduated and I joined Flo Daniel India Private Limited, and I joined as a structural engineer, and I worked there for over I would say 4.5 years around. And after that, I quit my job at Flo Daniel and started my own consulting as a private practice. And at the same time, I was preparing for my higher studies, post graduation. Unfortunately, that was the same time when COVID hit, and everything was delayed. It was not happening. So it around 1.5 year or more, I was doing my own consulting, and at the same time, I was preparing and trying for this PGDBA examination. And finally, I joined PGDBA at think 2021 end. It was like, yeah. And after my post graduation, I did internship in Mastercard, and I got a PPO from there. So from then I joined Mastercard in 2023, and it's been like almost 2 years in Mastercard. So from civil engineering, I switched my domain to data analytics and data science stream. And now, right now, I'm working as a data analyst in Mastercard. And apart from that, um, I was also the editor in chief of an AI magazine, which we published during our stint at PGDBA. So this is, I mean, our magazine is available in the IIM Calcutta website. So if you want, you can go through anytime. So yeah, this is all about my professional journey. And apart from that, I used to play football in Jadavpur University, but not got the chance in the university team, unfortunately. But anyway, so that's all about myself. And I like reading. I like to write also. So yeah, that's it.
okay, Dada, nice to hear that about your journey. So can you start with the questions now?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So Dada, can you share your experience at Floor Daniel, which was your first job, right?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So, uh, in Flo Daniel, I would say the experience was very good because right after the university, when we joined Flo, initially it was very challenging because what you are studying in your college, what we have been taught in our university is quite different than what was the industry doing at that time. So, but yeah, I would definitely say the basics always helps. And being a Jadavpur University graduate, you will always carry a great deal of expectation, right? And the same happened with us also. So we had to, grasp a lot of things very quickly. And thankfully, the curriculum or the way we have been taught actually helped. I was mainly working in Float as a module engineer. So in short, module engineering was a different kind of approach where everything was built at site and it will then carried to a different place, and it involved a whole different kind of analysis. So I mainly used to do that, and apart from that, like the work was challenging actually. Because at that time, Flo Daniel was doing multiple projects on my main experience was in oil and gas sector. But apart from that, I also worked on metal and mining also. So whole different set of experience, whole different kind of work that we used to do. So definitely as a civil structural engineer, as a design engineer, it was a great sort of learning and great experience as well.
Okay, and also I see that you had done a training at Emen Dastur at your college time. So did it really help you to secure that role in Flood?
I would say definitely for my case, yes. And I can tell you why exactly. Because in MN Dostur, it was around I think 1.5 month of internship, if I recollect correctly. So at that time, the things that I learned in Dostur was actually very helpful during my Flo Daniel interview. And in Flo Daniel interview, I was asked few questions, which was exactly what I was doing in MN Dostur internship. So in my case, yes, it helped me a lot. And also, MN Dostu is a kind of organization where, some of our greatest minds of our alumni or some of the best students from, various colleges used to work. So when you interact with these kind of people, you get to learn a lot more thing, which is difficult to teach you in your college. That's the whole purpose of the internship program, right? That you speak with people who are actually working, who are actually practicing. So that's why it was very helpful for me to crack the Flo Daniel interview. And I was actually preparing for Emin Dostur's interview during our final placements. But unfortunately, the written interview I could not clear actually. It's irony. So that was at that time I was a bit disappointed. But then Floor came, and fortunately I was able to clear the written and then the interview. So everything happened smoothly. So yeah.
Okay, so I request Sania to proceed with the next question.
Hello, Dada. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
So, Dada, can you please explain the differences between working in a core civil engineering domain versus at a global company like Mastercard, especially in terms of work-life balance?
Okay, I'll break the question in two parts. First, I'll try to explain the domain difference, right? One is core engineering discipline, and right now, what I'm doing as a consultant, analyst, whatever you say. And then I'll come to the work-life balance part later. So, see, engineering discipline, job in a core engineering firm and job in a business consulting firm is quite different among themselves. Obviously, because one is the stream that we are working on, and second is the way that companies work or do their business. So like in engineering, when you join an engineering consulting firm, core engineering firm, there it will be more technical. You will be focused more on your core technical skills that you right now you guys are learning in your college and everything. So your focus will be there only, and also the expectation from you to be technically excellent. right? Like your technical should be strong, your basics should be strong, and everything everything revolves around your basics, right? And engineering firms work on a more structured way. They have a very fixed sort of project structure. Everything is based on timelines, right? You have a fixed set of agenda or work predefined, right? And you will mostly follow those things. Whereas when you work on it, and also in core engineering, in my experience, at least I can share with you, is that in Floor Daniel, the work was pretty much hierarchical. So by hierarchical, what I mean is that you have a set of responsibilities and you have a set of supervisors, or you set of oversight people to answer to, and these set of peoples will be responsible for your work also. Like, and so it's a very well defined organization structure in which you work usually. Whereas when I compare the same with my current profile in my consulting job, what I see is that it's not that hierarchical, and you have to take a lot of responsibility and you at your domain, right? So like in simple words, you will be the owner of your work and you are answerable. Whatever I am doing right now at Mastercard, I am the person answerable. Right now I am handling the fraud analytics of a bank, which is in Brazil. So right now, anything or everything happens in the project, I am responsible. I am answerable to that, right? So it's a whole lot of responsibility in my shoulders at this, my current designation. If I compare the same designation in a engineering company or core engineering company, yes, you will have similar kind of work, but you are not that much responsible or you're not that much answerable. So that's a major difference. And the second thing is, like in engineering sector, everything is very well defined, well structured. You follow a set of codes, practice standards, industry standards, everything. While in consulting service or in the analytics domain, there is nothing defined. That's the main challenge, right? Nothing is defined. Only the client has a problem and they want an answer. So it's our responsibility, to get the data, get every information possible, scan the market, everything. So you would say that on one side it's well defined, well structured, right? On the other side, it's very much open ended. So in at one end you have, I mean, you have a limited, scope of innovation, limited scope of value addition. Rather, the more focus on you to follow or to deliver what is expected. On the other hand, in consulting service or in my domain at least, there's a lot of scope to improvise, to add value or to innovate. But on the other hand, the work is difficult because at the end of the day you have to deliver everything, and you might not get the help or resource that you need. So you have to find it yourself. So that's the basic difference in terms of work responsibility or kind of work you do. And if I say work-life balance, it totally depends. So in Floor, Daniel, there were some times, there were some projects which were so critical that we had to work, 13, 14 hours a day. And it went on like for months. So that was a challenging time there also. But on the other hand, sometimes it was, very lenient and we can take a break or everything. In consulting also the same happens. Like there are some projects, there are some deliverables where you have to really push because marketing campaigns going on, clients has to launch 3 4 campaigns at the same time, and you have to be always there to monitor and do everything. So work life balance, I would say it depends, and it varies throughout the years. It's not that we are working 15 16 hours at a stretch, but sometimes it happens. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, Dada. So, how risky was it for you to leave a stable job and start your own consultancy and then pursue a PGDBA degree in completely
Hmm.
different field? So, please share the experience.
So, like, since most of the audience in this call, I think is like third year, fourth year students, so they might understand the risk reward balance, right? So, anything if you want rewarding, there will be a sort of risk involved it. And I will tell you my risk, right? So, I was in my third promotion cycle when I left Float. So it was, I would say, a pretty stable, progressing job. So I left that, started my own venture, and also started my aspiration to be a data scientist at the same time. And unfortunately, once in a million I would say, case that a pandemic like COVID happened at the same time when I started. I took a bit of my risk. So you can understand how difficult or how adverse the situation was. And also coming from a civil engineering core civil engineering background, I realized that we always has a step back compared to people who had an exposure of coding, or who had an exposure of IT or everything, because they know some parameters already, which might help them into transitioning into a data science career. Like, so considering everything, all those aspects, I would say it was very difficult for me. And at the same time, you also realize there is a financial risk involved, right? You are leaving your job, you are doing a higher study, higher study, every kind of higher study that you do involves some amount of cost or education fees there, right? So you're sacrificing your current pay scale, you are sacrificing your 2 years of coming pay scale. At the same time, you are paying a hefty amount of education fees. So if you add these things up, the amount, if you calculate, it would come to a very healthy amount. And you have to be prepared mentally that I am going to sacrifice this much of my earning, this much of my financials to get a degree. So it's not about always salary, it's not about always money. It's about your focus or your objective, what you eventually wanted to do, right? I wanted to pursue a career on statistics, data science from like very early stage of my career, because I had statistics as my higher secondary subjects, and I was very much interested on it. So I always wanted to transition there, but unfortunately, due to my own financial conditions or set of responsibilities, everything, I had to continue on a stable core job, right? Because that's, I mean, being an undergraduate student, that's our aspiration, to get a job in a good company after our engineering, start earning, right? So I did that, and when I was stabilized on my financial fronts, okay, I have enough money right now to burn like coming 2 3 years. Then I started on my own aspirations. So I would definitely say there is a calculated risk involved in my case. COVID was not part of the calculation, definitely. So, but it happened. So, anyways, but yeah, there was a lot of risk, but I calculated that risk, that what I am going to compromise in terms of getting a degree on data science or transition my career on data science. So I would recommend all of you to do the math before you jump into a decision, right?
So Dada, at that time you grabbed a core job. So did you try to grab any analytics job during your UG placement?
No, in our time, see, in I was talking about 2015, right? So in 2015, analytics was not, that what I would say available kind of job profile, because at that time, companies like New Sigma, Deloitte, they used PwC, they used to come to our campusing, and we used to consider them as an IT altogether. IT bucket, mein, we used to put them. And once people joined there, they used to get profiles like associate analyst, or associate data analyst and kind of thing. So at our time, and also there was a regulation at our time that once you get a core job, you are supposed to appear on an IT job when all the department was placed, right? Because at that time we had this placement guidelines or something. So once we get a core job, like we had to wait for the full batch to get placed, and then we can appear for other IT jobs, like kind of this. Some regulations were there at that time. So once we get the job, like in core discipline, so we did not try on other fields. And my focus was also to work in an industry, in a core industry, for at least 2 3 years to build my profile. Because if you go for any competitive exams like CAT, GMAT, or PGDBA or anything, there is a certain weightage on your profile score as well, right? So it's not mandatory that you work there, because in our batch also there were many freshers. But in my personal opinion, it is better to at least work 1 or 2 years in a discipline that you are comfortable with, so that you get to understand one industry at a deeper level. That would eventually help you in your profiling, building your CV in an interviews, or in general to understand the business. So that's why I chose to work on a core discipline first, and then transition to my higher studies.
Okay, so if we talk about these competitive exams like CAT, GMAT, so does the brand value of these companies matters, or the previous college does matter?
Uh, see, okay. So if I talk about PGDBA, there are four sections in your selection process. One is your written exam, second is your personal interview, third is your work experience, and fourth is your academics, right? Now, if you talk about academics, the weightage is given on your 10th and 12th marks, right? There is no weightage on your university CGPA, first thing. Second thing is your work experience. Now, see, even if you are from Jadavpur University or even if you work on a very high branded multinational company, but someone who has scored better than you in these competitive exams and who has a better profile can anytime outnumber you. So it doesn't matter that uh, which college you are coming from or which company you work for. The only thing matters is how deeply or how good your understanding is about your study, your work, your company. Because in the interview, they will ask, very fundamental questions from your undergrad subjects, from your work experience, and how well prepared you are. That's only the thing that matters. Otherwise, brand value or, this guy is from Jadavpur. Since you are from Jadavpur University, you are not going to get any added advantage in the interview process. I would say rather being a Jadavpur University student, it will be an added expectation on you. They will ask something very weird question from you. And if you are not able to answer, they will say, hey, you are from Jadavpur University, you don't know these things. क्या पढ़ाई लिखाई नहीं हो रहा है क्या? This kind of thing will happen to you. So being from a good university actually adds extra set of expectation or responsibility. That I would say, because in my PGDBA curriculum, I have seen people from across all IITs, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Kanpur, IIT BHU. I have seen people from private colleges like in Kolkata. There's a college in Future. I think Future Engineering College FEM they call. So I have seen people from other private colleges as well. So it's a whole mix of university people, work experience, everything. So in short, no, there's no added brand value. It's all depends upon your preparation and your CV. That's it.
So, Dada, can you please tell us more about the PGDBA degree? Like, what are the skills that you learned?
Okay, so PGDBA is a unique curriculum on analytics or data science, I would say, in India right now, because it's a conglomerate of three institutes, that is IIM Calcutta, ISI Kolkata, and third is IIT Kharagpur. So the course is like a 2-year full residential program, and it will be distributed among these three institutes. So in ISI, we get to know the basics or fundamentals of statistics part that is required for data analysis and machine learning, data science. They deal with mainly with the statistics part of it. In IIT Kharagpur, you will learn the core technology part, right, which is required, which is mostly focused on machine learning, business operations, data science, deep learning, etc. And IIM Calcutta actually teaches you the business part of it, right? That how the technical learnings that you had you can apply on a core business problem. So IIM Calcutta takes care of the management part, where ISI and IIT Kharagpur takes care of the core technology part or the core subject that you need to be a data scientist or to become a data analyst, right? So it's a very unique combination because I mean, there are very few courses available which involves more than one institute in their curriculum. And we spend almost like 6 months in each institute. And the last 6 months, that is the internship part. So we do a 6 months in the industry internship. That's another interesting part because in most, in for example, in MBA, you get to have a 2-month internship, right? and that internship you do right after your first year. So at that time, once you join your MBA and you have spent just 1 year there, at that time you join a company for your internship. Whereas in PGDBA, once you complete your 3 semesters in 3 institute and you are done with your curriculum, you are done with your core learning part. Now you join an industry and you work there for 6 months. So number one, you get to apply all your knowledge that you had during your curriculum, and second is that 6 months is a great deal of time because recruiters can see you for 6 long months and they can understand, okay, this guy, he can work or she can work, or their strength, their weakness. This becomes easier for the recruiter to recruit a candidate because you are seeing them for 6 months, right? You are working with them for 6 long months. So it becomes very easy for them also, and it becomes very easy for you to decide also whether I want to continue my career in this organization or I want to sit for a different company, like that. So in this aspect, you can say that it's different than other courses or other MBA core MBA programs that is available. And in terms of becoming a data scientist or learning the core concept of data analytics and machine learning, I would say this course is pretty comprehensive because and it's also very rigorous because in 6 months you have to grasp a lot of concepts, new concepts which most of us don't know before we join the course, right? And so I would say that PGDBA is ideal for those who are either trying to transition their career into data science or machine learning from core disciplines like I was, or those who are already working as an analyst, or just want to get a good understanding of what they are doing. So this course is good for them also, and especially people who are in their undergraduation, like people like you, who are fresh, who are still connected to their core subjects and everything. So this will be helpful for those also. But please remember one thing, that for freshers who don't have a work experience, you have to compromise, I think, one point in your CV while appearing for PGDB, because at our time at least, for 0 years of experience, the point in the experience section was a bit less, I would say. I think just 1 point less. But eventually, these things doesn't matter because in our batch there were many freshers also, and they are well placed, and they are working in very good organization right now. So that's all about PGDBA, and you can go to IIM Calcutta website. So there they have listed all the syllabus, the curriculum structure, the institute breakups, how the things have been distributed on the university. Everything is mentioned there, so you can go through any time. And yes, there is a definite exam for PGDBA, which is not CAT. It's a whole different exam that is conducted every year. So if you want to appear for that, you can do it.
Okay, so Dada, what are the kind of questions that are asked in the entrance exam for PGDBA?
Yeah. So PGDBA exam is pretty similar to CAT. Like there were three major sections. One is your quant, second is your LRDI, and third is your vocabulary, right? Now, vocab and LRDI is pretty much similar to CAT, and anyone who is appearing for CAT would find very similar type of questions there also. In the quant, it's very different from CAT. So in quant, it's more focused on your 12th or JEE Advanced Mathematics, to be precise. So the if you look into the syllabus, I think it keeps slightly changing year after year, but in in general, it's like your JEE Advanced Mathematics syllabus. So you'll be asked questions on your JEE Advanced Mathematics, including everything like probability, advanced geometry, number theory, everything. Equation solution of equations, everything. So
Yes, sir.
unlike CAT, which involves like on your 10th level exams, 10th level mathematics, it's based on your JEE Advanced Mathematics.
Okay, Dada. So I would like to proceed with the next question, which is, so how did you justify your core experience during interview when you were trying to switch to analytics?
How did I justify? Okay. So
To
the
the
yeah, so
interview.
definitely the
Hello.
hello.
Okay, please, you guys, your question will be
Hello.
given later. We, the host, are questioning now. Okay. So, Dada, you continue.
Hmm. Yeah, so definitely it's not about PGDBA. If you go to any other curriculum, you want to join any curriculum, CAT, GMAT, PGDBA, QROR, MSQV, there are a whole lot of, options that you can have. So the obvious question they ask you is that why PGDBA, right? So at that time, you have to be, let me tell what I answered. So my answer was very clear that, I was always inclined toward mathematics and statistics. So I always wanted to pursue a career on this. And when I got the opportunity to appear for this PGDB exam, and when I get to know about this examination, I find it, matching with my career aspiration, right? And the second thing was, an immediate question they asked me, like, if this course is, so much inclined to your interest, so why you're appearing now? Why not right after the college, or why not just 2 years after your college? So at that time, I also justified that, I had a set of financial goals for myself, and I was working to meet those financial goals because, doing a higher study definitely incurs a lot of cost at a personal level and at an institutional level also. So I was preparing myself for that. And the second thing was I wanted to get a good understanding of one business before I transition myself to another business. So that's why I gave myself a sufficient timeline, a sufficient room of time to, work on a particular industry, get to know how the business works. Because see, if you there's a common misconception that people usually write in their CV, or people usually answers in the question that, the candidate might have a, I am right now involved in the interview process also in my company. And the most common thing we see is that a person has a 6 months or 7 months of experience, right? And they write in their CV that, I contributed a 10% revenue growth in my company by doing so and so. And they write in their CV like, I have modified the operations in a way that it resulted 2 crore rupees annual cost savings. So the problem of this kind of statement is, at a 6 months or 7 months level of experience in a company, you don't have the kind of, designation, or you don't have the kind of exposure to make a contribution of 10% business revenue growth or 15% operation cost savings. You don't have that kind of, exposure or responsibility, right? Second thing is, the immediate question is, if you could end up saving 2 crore rupees in a project, who were the people who was involved in the estimation of the project? उन्होंने क्या किया था? Like, how did they misestimated 2 crores rupees of revenue? So that's the problem, that, when you have a 6 months of experience in your CV and you write something like that, I contributed 20% revenue growth in my company. It's not possible, right? So that's why I told that, I wanted to be in a position where I can have a greater visibility of the operation end to end. And for that, at least you need 2 to 3 years. If you everyone knows that you need a promotion, you need a certain set of designation where you get the exposure of how management is working, how your business is operating, right? So these kinds of answer I gave to them, and I think that it was convincing. That's why maybe they have considered my CV, right?
Okay, so Dada, what all industries I can venture into using the skills that you just mentioned one can gain during this course?
So right after PGDBA, your core your core technical skill will be data science, machine learning, data analyst, right? And any industry that you can think of which uses data as their business, or data in the heart of their operation, you are eligible to apply for there. You are eligible to work for there. For example, I would break in our let me break it down, that what kind of companies come for the recruitment. That will give you a greater idea. So there were four major sections that comes for the interview, for the recruitment. One is your FII, financial institutes, right? And it involves your banking, your fintech, uh, venture capital firms, etc. The second set of companies will be the healthcare that come for the recruitment. Now, in healthcare involves insurance, hospital networks, etc. Third is your IT, definitely your IT. And IT involves like consulting firms like PwC, Deloitte, they are IT consultants, and other IT firms like Airtel, for example, Vodafone, Telecom, etc. that you can club into IT together. And the fourth is obviously the management consulting firms, right? Management consulting firms who solves business problems using data. So these are the four kinds of industries that come for the recruitment in PGDBA. And apart from these, there are many other companies who come, like you can say, for example, gaming companies. In our time, there was a company which came for the recruitment called Games 24/7, who who are running the Rani Circle or Play Dream 11, I think. So these kind of companies also come to the recruitment, and apart from them, financial research companies, they also come for the recruitment. So in general, you can think any company which is using data as their operation, as to improve their operation or as to solve business problem, you will be eligible for those companies. So it opens up a whole new set of opportunities for you. Core kind of restricts you to certain companies or certain industries where you can apply, where you can excel. But these kind of courses or this kind of exposure that's going on in the market right now actually opens up a lot of options for you.
So, okay, Dada, the next question is going to be how important is machine learning in data analytics field?
uh, okay. See, it depends upon what kind of problem you are trying to solve. Okay. So, data analyst, as a data analyst, your primary job is not to use machine learning, but rather to identify the root cause of a problem, right? So, for example, if I okay, let me explain this through a complete project life cycle, right? Suppose a client like a bank, big bank, they have come to you and they are asking you that for the last 12 months, our customer base is not growing, our credit card base is not growing, and we don't know why. We have run all kind of campaigns, we have run all kind of offers, the campaigns are not working, the offers are not going well. Our customers are not using our credit card, and we don't know why. Please help us, right? So you start your project with this kind of problem. Or if I give you a actual business case which was given to my interview, one of my interview was that a company, for example, who a company like Dream 11, right? They work on a model that you create your own team, you bet some money, and the game goes on, and you eventually you win or you lost, kind of thing. So you have to top up some amount of money before you actually play the game, right? So the question was like, how much option we should give the customer? 200 rupees, 500 rupees, 1000 rupees, right? For the top up option, so that the maximum amount they can use. So the project starts with this kind of a problem. So initially, you don't use machine learning right away, right? You try to identify the problem. You look into their data. You look into their last 2 3 years of business. You try to deep dive what is happening. The customers who are not using, why they are not using. Is there any other factor which is contributing, and kind of thing. So this is the diagnostic part that you actually work on, right? So this is more related to data analytics. Now comes the second part, right? The second part is the what should we do next? Okay, we have identified the problem. Now, what should we do next? Now, when this kind of question arises, what should we do next? Then comes your machine learning, right? Like, what should be the specific group of customers that we should target, or what should be the ideal set of offers that we can launch, right? And for that, you use machine learning, because machine learning is more related to prediction, or classify people or predict something new, right? So there comes your machine learning. There is no specific fine boundary. Yes, after this machine learning, before this data analytics, there is no specific boundary. But in general, you start with the analytics part, then you go into machine learning part, and when there is there is some time when clients want the, okay, I don't want you to come back every time I have a problem. Give me a solution which is just plug and play. And in future, if I face the same problem, I can use your product, simply plug my data into it and I get a result. Then you productize your machine learning models. Then you actually create a product for the client, right? You use then advanced data pipelines and everything to deliver your product. So that is how analytics, machine learning, and ML ops, these kind of things are placed. But this can vary time to time, and if there is no fixed rule for that. Sometimes in fraud analytics projects, we use the machine learning part beforehand, right? Why fraud is happening, or who are the customer who's more susceptible to fraud. For that analysis, we use machine learning right at the beginning, and then we get the results, and then we do analytics on top of that, and then we provide the results, right? So it always depends upon the problem statement you are working on, right?
Okay, so you had been in the industry for a few years, so I would request you to say what the recruiters want from an engineering student who want to pursue their career in this data field. What are the things that we need to prepare, and are there any non-degree courses like the courses available in Coursera? So can you suggest something to us like that?
Okay. Uh, so if you ask me that, after you complete your engineering, your undergraduation, right? And if you want to appear for a company, for a data analyst role, or kind of machine learning role, so then what will be the expectation? This is one question, and let me try to answer this first. That companies who come for the recruitment, right? And they are offering you a data analyst or data engineer kind of role in your UG placements at least. So definitely the expectation from you will not that you know everything about machine learning end to end, or you know everything about big data or deep learning end to end. That will not be the expectation from you. But yes, definitely they will, I mean, obviously, some knowledge on any of the language will be helpful for you, and will be helpful for the recruiter also to recruit you. And I would say, some basic working knowledge on Python, or some basic idea of SQL, how SQL works, right? I'm not saying that, you go and learn Python end to end. That is not possible. But some basic idea, some basic knowledge, and also some, basic idea on statistics. And statistics, I mean, not a whole bunch of statistics required for machine learning, but some basic idea, like they will ask question about statistical measures like mean, median, mode, etc. Or uh, they can ask you some basic question related to machine learning, that for example, if you know about regression analysis, or what is the difference between an data science and machine learning, these kind of questions they can ask you, or they may not ask you. But I would say that if you want to pursue a career in this kind of companies, you start building your knowledge on any one of the coding language, right? Python, SQL, anything. That's the future. Python is definitely useful because right now in most of the industries, Python is being used. Second thing is start reading some basic concepts of machine learning, because I tell you why. Because what we have seen in our PGDBA, that people from IITs, right, IIT BHU, IIT Kharagpur, people, they have started building their portfolio on machine learning from third year, right? They started reading, they started doing projects, very small scale projects, car price prediction, population prediction, GDP prediction, these kind of very fundamental machine learning projects they have already started building from their third year. So, that's why I'm saying that if you really want to go into a field like this, start developing your interest, start developing your knowledge on these kind of things. And sometimes it happens that companies like New Sigma, PwC, they come, they hire as a IT recruitment drive, they hire you, and then they give you a role like associate analyst, or um, associate data analyst kind of role, and you will get to learn things there itself. But this is, I'm telling you the story 5 years back, right? And now the industry has changed a lot. Now resources are available, everything is on YouTube, right? So that's why I'm telling you that people have already started doing their portfolio from third year, final year, pre-placement on these kind of fields where they are really interested to join. So if you are also interested to join, I would say start reading about basic machine learning, basic machine learning methods, basics about SQL, small SQL queries, how to do join and etc. So this kind of thing you can start developing right away because you still have time. If you're a third year student, you have a time. I know third year is a bit I mean, a bit hectic, but trust me, this is the maximum time you get to prepare yourself because once you join the industry, the timelines would be more stricter.
Okay, Dada, so can you suggest some ML algorithms that we can explore in our free time so to crack?
Uh, Email algorithm, right away, it's not helpful if I suggest you few ML algorithms right away. If you go and learn them, unless you know the basics. So my suggestion is that you start from the basic statistics, basics of I would say basic ML algorithm. That anytime you can start with linear regression. That is the first thing, heart of any machine learning. Start from there, linear regression. Then you can go to classification model, basic classification models like decision tree, you know, random forest, and then you develop other knowledge on other machine learning algorithms like XGBoost. There are multiple of that. I would not recommend going into details of deep learning or kind of thing. If you're interested, please go ahead. There's no harm in it. But as a starter, I mean, always start. You can start with the linear models, right? And there are like multiple online resources available. I would recommend one that I used to follow and I still follow is the StatQuest by Josh Starmer. So that's a very good channel to learn basics, starting from scratch. I mean, and also there are Krish Nair, right? So there are multiple of YouTube channels available. There are multiple resources available, and for students, university students, I think there are some discounts always going on Upgrad, Coursera, Udemy. You can always explore those. But if I mean those who don't have any exposure on these things, I would recommend start with the very basics, like very fundamental statistics, mean, median, mode, central tendency kind of things, and then you slowly progress into linear models, and eventually, while you do it, you can find the right track for yourself, right?
Okay, so the
And
certified
yeah,
content,
no,
what
go
you
ahead, go ahead.
so the certified courses which are available like Microsoft course, Google course, so does they hold any special or extra value, or are they preferred more in the industry?
Hmm. Uh, in terms of certification, you can always do, and you can always add into your CV. That definitely helps. But when you add a particular certification in your CV, please be mindful that you are telling your recruiter that I know things about this, and it will fetch questions in the interview, definitely. So, if you do a certification and you attach to your CV, try to have a very good understanding or try to have a very good, deep, concept. Be very clear about the things that you are writing in your CV. That's the whole idea, right? It doesn't matter if you have only one certification and your friends have like 10, 15 certification. If you can justify or if you can answer or defend your certificate, that's enough. First thing. Second thing is you may not have a certification in your CV, but I don't think it stops you from being shortlisted, right? But definitely, when it comes to I would say when it comes to a one-to-one, right? There are two equally good candidates, and when the selection comes into picture, then as a recruiter, they will see, okay, this guy has certification, this guy knows about these things, so let's go ahead. So that's the, but yeah, at the same time, these some of the certifications are a bit costly. So again, I would say first be very clear that what kind of profile you are appearing for. And if you see there is a gap in that profile and your current CV, try to fill that gap obviously by doing, certifications and doing some projects on that if you can. But be very clear about the certificates that you attach and be prepared to answer questions from them because it will attract some sort of questions from there.
Okay, Sania, proceed.
So, Dada, do you think that civil engineers face lower career growth and lower salaries as compared to engineers working in other domains?
uh, See, if I talk about core engineering, so see, there are two section of civil engineers. One who joins private sector definitely, and the other part is that who joins government job or PSUs for that sake. So in PSU or in government job, it doesn't depend. I mean, it doesn't depend on your degree. The pay scale, the promotion cycle is same for everyone, right? Now, when it comes to the private company or private sector that where people join, it again depends on the company because there are some companies who are at a higher end of the salary scale, MNCs to be specific. But there are some companies who doesn't offer that much, you know. And if you join some of the companies where the pay scale, starting pay scale itself is low, even if you get a 10%, 15% hike every year, still you will be behind some of your friends who have joined a company or MNC with a higher basic pay scale, right? Because a 5% hike on a 10 lakh LPA and a 15% hike on a 3.5 lakh LPA, you can understand the difference right away, right? But talking about core engineering fields like civil, mechanical, electrical, the pay scale remains more or less same. But definitely, if I look compare a 5 years experience in a core engineering field and a 5 years experience in a management consulting or a business consulting on IT, definitely there is a set of differences. But it's not always about the salary or not about the money, right? Because sometimes when you are trained or you have spent 4 years of your graduation in a particular subjects and you are working there, you are excelling there, that depends on your aspiration. But long story short, yes, core engineers earn a kind of less amount of salary than IT or management or other domains. So yeah. Because in our time, Floor Daniel was in 2015 when I joined Floor. Floor was offering CTC around 5.25 LPA, and immediately after that, other companies I think were offering in the range of 3 to 3.5 or something like that. So you can understand the difference there itself. But yeah, I mean, it can happen.
Okay, so we're running out of time and we can ask more few questions to Dada. So Dada, please suggest a roadmap for us. You said that we need to learn basics of ML and statistics. So I think there is a proper roadmap. We need to learn few more tools about if we want to join the analytics. So please suggest something. And how much time would it
Okay.
require to prepare and make projects and all?
Okay, so see, if you want to do so there are two, three things. One is that if you want to join, industry right after your undergrad, so then I would say that, start learning one programming language and preferably Python. That's the first thing you should do. Second thing is that start reading about basics of the machine learning, right? Like what machine learning actually is. So if you, I mean, when you start reading, you will realize that machine learning is nothing but, kind of complicated operations on matrix. So start building your knowledge on basics of machine learning. And I am not recommending to learn like the mathematics, the deep rooted algebra, how machine learning algorithm is working. It's not required at your level, but start having an overall idea. And also the main question is that which machine learning algorithm is applicable in what kind of problems. You cannot apply linear regression in every problem you face, right? Or you cannot apply your classification algorithms in every kind of problem you face. So it is important to understand that when to use what. And for this, you don't have to, read about the mathematical operation going behind a particular algorithm. You just have to understand that what is happening, what is the input, what is the output, how to read the output, and its application, what is the application, right? And if you find any, online courses on basic of, and I recommend that don't waste your money in, online courses here and there. There's YouTube channel, free YouTube channel available. I spent my whole PGDBA based on YouTube. Okay. So professors used to teach a whole lot of thing in the class, and it was not possible to grasp everything there. So we rely on YouTube heavily. So it's everything is available in YouTube, right? Yes, for definitely, if you want to build a CV, go for an online course, have a certificate attached in your CV, that's fine. And next thing is, if you want to have a degree or a certificate, like on data analytics or data scientist or machine learning, for that you have to prepare for the entrance exam. That is obvious, right? If you want to join IIM Bangalore, IIM Bangalore is offering a similar kind of course on business analytics. It's a 2-year program. I think ISB Hyderabad, IIT Kharagpur itself, IIT Madras. There's a whole bunch of courses going on. So if you want to join one of them, definitely you have to appear for the examination. That's obvious. So if you want to appear for exam, the preparation set is totally different, right? So if you want to join an industry right away after your UG, start developing on knowledge on programming language, basics of ML. If you want to join a higher study right after your college, start preparing for the entrance exam. Brush up your 10th, 12th level mathematics again, looking into LRDI or whatever CAT preparation or whatever you want to do. So you can start right away after your third year, because fourth year I think is kind of lenient for you to practice for these kind of things. And if you want to join a core industry, work there for few years, get an experience, get an exposure, and then you want to decide whether you want to switch or you want to continue your career there, that's also very much fine. Please go ahead, do that. So first, be very clear that what you want to do right after your UG. If the answer is I want to join a data company. Now it again depends what kind of roles you are being offered in your final placements, right? Because all the companies will not offer you right away a data engineer or data analyst role. That also depends. But if you want to join, start building, start preparing for the interview. You can get interview questions, right? What kind of questions are being asked? You can always get that from your alumni, your placement cell. Ask them to organize, sessions like this. What kind of questions are being asked, what kind of programming skills are required. Start developing those right away. Okay. So it's expected that you know basics of it, but you are not expected to be an expert of that. If you are, then very good.
Okay, Dada. So we are done with our career-related questions, and we have some fun questions for you. So can you share
Okay.
some memorable experience from your college life, where you involved in any club or activities? Your experience at Srijan Sanskriti.
Hmm. See, college activity, regular activities that you usually used to do, go for money collection for Sanskriti and your fest, everything. Memorable in college was a lot of experiences were there. The most fun, I mean, the most memorable part was definitely the survey camp. What we did in the survey camp, because in civil department, I think you know that we used to have a survey camp after the fourth semester or fifth semester, I forgot. But we used to go there for like whole 2 weeks and do a lot of survey and thing. So that was the most memorable thing, because that's the only time that the entire batch, as a whole batch, we used to go there and do things. So that was the most memorable thing. Otherwise, I personally did not attend a lot of classes in my UG, because we used to take notes from Babuda. You must know, right? So, and I had very specific memory for myself, which I cannot share right away. So if you can, connect with anyone from our batch 2015, or is there anyone from civil engineering department here?
Yes, half of the.
Yes, Dada.
Hmm. Uh, please don't mention my name, but Professor Shivnath Chakraborty, Professor Pritam Aich, uh, if you can go and ask about me, they can share a specific, details about myself that I used to do. I used to do mimicry, okay, at that time, and I used to do mimicry of professor in front of that professor. So that was one thing I used to do. But yeah, you can go and ask them anytime about myself. So, and please be prepared for get some bad feedback also, okay? So that's the most funny thing I had in my college days. So yeah,
Okay, so Dada, we have a question from the audience.
yes,
In the recent
please go
years,
ahead.
many think tanks and core industries like environmental consultancy firms have also started using data for policy making aspects. Can you name a
Hmm.
few companies like this that can be approached?
Hmm. Okay. Um, let me think. Mm. See, there is an environment. I if I recollect correctly, there's a form, there's a division in every company which right now works on the environment assessment, or right now I'm not able to collect. PwC is a company where there is a lot of work going on energy and environment. Similar consultancy is done by Deloitte, I think, uh, and also uh, see if you talk about companies which are like engineering companies, or energy consultants, right? If you talk about them, there's a company called Renew. Okay, Renew. So this is a company which mostly focused on renewable energies, right? And Renew is one of its kind of a company which is focused on energy sector, but uses data engineering or data science as their operation, or as their I would say policy making also. Because one or two people from our batch is currently working there as a data scientist also, right? And if I try to collect company names which are working in India right now, um, please look into L&T Hydrocarbon if they are right now recruiting data in their data division right now. L&T Hydrocarbon, I'm not sure if they are recruiting right now, or they are just recruiting experienced persons only. Apart from this, mm, 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 these are some of the names that comes to my mind right now, and I'll see if I can share a few more examples. Yeah.
Um, okay, so Dada, there is one more question from
Yes.
Aditya here.
Hmm. Please,
Um,
can you read the
he,
question for me?
yes, sure. He wants to ask how was your experience with faculty members and batchmates, and how was your experience that you had with the department?
In civil engineering department, I think he's asking for. So yeah, so definitely like faculty member interaction with faculty member, for my case it was like very good, because in our time we used to study, we used to do a lot of things apart from study, and our interaction with professors were, at least for my group, or my mates, our interaction with professors were very friendly. Initially in first year, second year, it seems that professors are like very, strict, very hard to deal with. But eventually you realize that, after certain level, you realize that, they are also there to help you, actually help you out. Their intention is to, complete your study, get a good job, and get out of here. Ho jao bhai. That's it. And those who have an aspiration for higher studies, PhD, or even become a professor itself, so they can help you out in that aspect also. We used to talk with professors by like for long times in third year, in final year, during our placements, before our placements. We used to go to their room. Those who are from civil engineering department, they must know that, Professor SNC and Professor Pritamait and Arup Yogi, they used to sit in a different section together. So we used to go there, we talk with them, we have a long discussion ki, what should we do next. People are not getting placed, what is the industry. And not only, on professional front, sometimes we spoke about personal fronts also. A particular guy is struggling, how to help him out, and this kind of things was happening. So my interaction, my whole experience in Jadavpur University was very good. But it again, I would say ki it's still in my memory as a good memory because you ended well. It ended well, right? I got a placement, I got a good job. So now when I look back and I think that yes, everything was happening nice. But if it had happened otherwise, I would have been, jobless for a year or so, and if I had a struggle, then it might happen that I may not recall that memories to be that bright. So my recommendation to all of you is be prepared for anything, and don't think that, if anything happens during your placements, you are not placed in a company you are looking for, you know, don't be demoralized, because in our batch, people who were not placed, right, in their final placements, they took a year gap. They prepared for GATE, they prepared for other entrance exams, and they qualified that, and they are now working in a very good position in PSUs. One of our batchmates is an IES officer right now. So, anything, be prepared for anything. And this is the best time you can create your CV, you can build your profile. So try to read as much as you can. Not only your core subjects, but anything that interests you, read as much as you can. Because you're third year, you're fourth year students, you had enough fun. Now please focus on your series. That's the best thing you can do right now.
Okay, so Dada, the next question is from Aritra Sengupta, Civil UG3. His survey
Yeah.
camps will begin in a week. He's asking for any tips for that and which professors to stay away from.
Tips for survey camp: don't work at all. Okay? Don't work at all. Let other people do the. No, see, no. Right now, the survey camp structure is changed. I think now in the survey camps, I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you have to do an actual field survey, or you just go there and look into things, ki kaise ho raha hai, what's happening, like that? So I would definitely say the survey camp is the best thing that you can have in civil engineering department. That's the best thing. Okay? Enjoy as much as you can. Don't do anything very wild. Okay? I mean, I know what people usually do when they are, the camps and kind of things, but please don't do anything very stupid that, someone has to take action against you. Otherwise, please have fun, connect with people there. I'm sure that in civil engineering department, at least the strength is, I think 120 plus or 100 plus. So there might be many students whom you have never interacted in your 3 years of, uh, engineering time. Interact with them, get to know each other, have fun, because survey camps creates a unique bonding in the entire batch. Till the survey camp, we were section A, section B, till the survey camp. And there is always a B versus A section rivalry. ठीक है कि हमें ज्यादा मिल रहा है, तुम्हारा question was difficult, and so and so. After the survey camp, the whole scenario was changed. We became an UG department together. We became UG civil. Now there is no A versus B, dilemma. So survey camp is the best time to create a unique bond among yourselves. And don't be afraid of professors. Oh, they will tell you do this, do that. That's okay. But enjoy as much as you can. That's the only thing I'll say.
Okay, thank you, Dada. So I think Spandana wants to ask something.
Yes, please.
Okay,
Is
Dada.
there
So the next question
yeah,
is, can you?
yeah.
Oh, okay. So can you
No, no,
suggest
please go ahead.
how? Am
Mhm.
I audible?
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
So can you suggest how to use ChatGPT or such AI tools to improve analysis approaches? This is the audience question.
Ah, okay, see, mm, in my experience, ChatGPT is advanced Google search, right? So it's kind of better than Google because it summarizes, it gives you things that you need in a one place. But eventually, it's a better Google search. ChatGPT actually is. So now, if you ask me that in your project or in your UG curriculum or anything that you are right now doing, if you have to submit some your what I say final year project or anything, there you want to use ChatGPT. See, the output of the ChatGPT is as good as the prompt you are giving to it. So the more specific you are in your prompting, the more better result you can get from ChatGPT. But the problem in such scenarios sometimes are is that it scrapes the data which is already available in Google or something, and it summarizes things for you in one place, right? So depends upon how specifically or how accurately you have given your prompt, like your query. That's how the ChatGPT will give you the results, right? So, like in our case also, when we use ChatGPT or Gemini for our use cases, what we used to give is that we get a high level idea, or we get a overview of our problem, right? And from that overview or from that high level idea, we start building our own logic or our own inputs to it. But sometimes what happens is that if you get too much used to ChatGPT, then definitely it will degrade your own capacity of improvisation, your own capacity of thinking, right? So definitely, if you are doing a project for your final year submission, or if you are doing a report, a lab report or anything, you can definitely use ChatGPT. You can give it a prompt; it will give you an answer. So I would, in my opinion, as a data scientist, I would recommend that you go through it, you understand the basics of it, and try to build your own case on top of that. So please don't copy paste, because what will happen, you will lose eventually. You will not understand right now, but eventually there will be a come when you lose your own reasoning. And reasoning is very important in any field of, at least in engineering. Reasoning is the most critical skill that you must have. Try to understand what is happening, right? So please use ChatGPT. There's no harm into it, but try to build your own case or own input on top of it. Don't just copy paste.
Okay, so Dada will go for the last question now. What is Mastercard launch program, and is it an internship?
No, Mastercard launch program is not specifically internship. So what happens is that every year Mastercard hires at the entry level of their this, of their verticals. So like we joined Mastercard as I joined Mastercard as consultant. So they hire two kinds of candidates. One is experienced candidate, and the second is freshers. So I joined as an experienced candidate. Similarly, people from undergrad college, they joined as fresher, right? So the every time a new batch joins the organization, they call them launchers. And there's a specific launch program that happens like for like 3 months, where they go through rigorous trainings, rigorous dummy projects. Dummy projects means they will be given a very short, short kind of test project to work on. Sometimes they are put into a live projects also. So this happens for 3 4 months, and during that time, they get to know how the company works, how the project's actually working. They get to understand the data structure, data infrastructure, everything that is going on in Mastercard. And once they are ready to be onboarded on live projects, then they'll be putting on different kind of responsibilities. So this thing, the whole program that onboards people in Mastercard is called actually the launch program.
Okay, Dada, so that was it for today. It was a really enlightening session. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today. The insights that you gave were really very illuminating. We are very grateful to have learned from you. I'm sure it would have been really helpful to our listeners.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you for, inviting me and, letting me to share my experience because the time I graduated from university and if I look back today, there's, a lot of time has passed, a lot of things have changed, and it is really important for you guys to be very specific at this point of time in your career that where you actually want to work or where you actually want to go. So that's again, I mean, thanks for inviting me, and I think Aditya was, coordinating very well with me as well. So thank you very much for all of you for joining. So I wish you all the best and good luck for your career and good luck for your studies, everything. Okay. And
Thank
if you
you,
have
Dada.
any question or anything, you can guys reach out to me in that case personally. There's no problem.
Thank you, Dada.
Okay, guys. Then see you guys. Bye.
Bye. Bye. So, okay, guys, we are done for today and be prepared for the next SOI. You would be updated.
ये सक्षम थोड़ा रहना सक्षम आकांक्षा आयुष